We've made a lot of progress with this car within the last month, and there's still a lot to do because we're driving this thing to Oregon. You're probably thinking, what's in Oregon? Well, Affinity Circuit, that's what's in Oregon. And you're probably thinking, what's at Affinity Circuit? Well, Panic Grand Prix. You're probably thinking, what's Panic Grand Prix? It's the world's largest Corolla event, or at least in the Pacific Northwest. Check that out. And you're probably thinking, what is this? It is a synchrometer. I'm going to sync the throttle bodies on the car to make sure they're all open at the same time. I'm going to take off this 3D printed airbox, and you guys can admire those nice headers that I spent way too much time on. While I have this on the bench, we're just going to inspect it. Nice and oily there. I'm going to say that's pretty well sealed. A lot of oil from that spray, probably just collecting. Anyways, we'll probably put another strip of super glue here, but this thing's interlocked. I'm not too worried about it, as long as it's not melting either. How does this tool work? Well, you butt it up against the throttle body. It has this nice little piece of rubber. We occlude it, and it'll tell us how much airflow each and every velocity stack is sucking. Okay, that's about 3.5. This is 2.5. Oh man, this thing is way off. So now during idle, this back one is sucking in a lot, and this beginning one is barely sucking. So that tells me that this back cylinder is probably running more lean. This is like any kind of throttle stop, but it's a little tricky because the set screw's on the other side. I can only imagine how much you would ruin your car if you didn't know what you're doing. Kind of like me. So the car actually idles perfect, but obviously it's not perfect because the back two throttle bodies are sucking in more air. So what I'm going to slowly do is close the rear and open the front, just so they match. Look at this. We got to use this just to turn that stop. So I did have to make some fine-tune adjustments, but more or less it's right at 3, right at 3, right at 3, right at 3. Okay, so this thing idles kind of low, but it did install on me. Had to make some adjustments. Just because when the fan kicks on, it was stalling before. Fan is on, and look, we're 14, idling at 660. Oop. I put the original gas gauge into this 3D printed enclosure, and had to cut it to fit, of course. But I'm just gonna embed a LED in there, so when I have it, we can actually see it at night. Okay, so ignition on, it lights up, it reads, and then obviously I always want to see everything with my steering wheel on. It's a good view. We're gonna go for a morning tune. much as I would love to chase down some Porsches on some crusty all seasons, we're data logging. Okay, so I brought it up to 6,500, I guess. I was running a little rich there, but I think that was probably in first gear. Essentially, I hit all my target AFRs. I only rung it out to 6,500. Need to do a little bit more fine tuning on the top end, but for the most part, I'll say it's pretty safe. Even if the car does have 130 psi compression, it sounds good and it drives pretty good. So now we just continue prepping the car, meaning spare everything, spare diff, coil packs, injectors, wires, harness, whatever, tools, tires, tie rods, control arms, pretty much spare everything because we're driving up to Oregon. One of those things you're like, ITBs, that's only going to take the weekend to install. Next thing you know, it's a month later and we're still working on it and learning along the way. And I always tell people, you need time, money, motivation. If you don't have those three things, you're probably not going to finish your project. And I always tell people, simplify your life. Don't get any more projects. Which is why I'm surprised to tell you guys I'm picking up another project in Oregon. You'll just have to wait and see what it is. All right, well, some people say you can't polish a turd yet. Here I did. I just polished this turd. Thanks for watching.